things to show you and something to give you. And all of you can listen in too. So what you're seeing up on the screen, and you can look too, is an image of the woman reaching for Jesus' robe. Now that image comes from the Magdala Center in a place called Israel. And in that Magdala Center, a place that celebrates all the women in the Bible, there is a healing chapel. And in that healing chapel, there is a wall-sized mural from floor to ceiling of just this image telescoping in with Jesus reaching, the woman reaching out to Jesus. And what do you see in that picture there? Do you see the spark of light coming off of Jesus? That's his power coming out, healing the woman who was reaching out for Jesus right at his feet. And what she's reaching for is something called a tallit, which is a prayer shawl that was hanging down by his feet, and it has fringes on here. And she showed great faith because there's a prophecy in a book called Malachi that says, when the Son of Righteousness rises, there will be healing on his wings. And these kind of look like wings, don't they? And so she was reaching out to the fringes. Do you want to reach out to these fringes? You could reach out. Reach out. And she knew that there would be healing when she reached out in faith, because she knew Jesus was the Messiah. And so I'm wondering, what do you need help from Jesus for today? If you could reach out and say, help me, Jesus, what would you say? Help me, Jesus, for... Does someone want to share? No. Who else?
Giving the people life.
Giving people life. What a great thing to reach out. Do you want to reach out as if you're reaching out to Jesus and touch those fringes? Yes, that's just what she did. Who else? Anybody else want to ask Jesus, I need help for... Well, life is a good one. I think that's good for all of us. Okay.
A life.
Yes, life. I think we all echo, we want life. And I have something for you. Now, these are what you call prayer squares, and some of the adults may have seen these before. Yes, you have, Mac. We hand these out at the Healing Center, and that's where I work. It's just across the hallway here. And these are knitted, and someone prays over every stitch. And so you're not always going to be able to reach out to these fringes, and of course you can reach out to Jesus in prayer, but sometimes having something to hold on to can help you remember, I'm reaching out to Jesus, and guess what? His love is already reaching out to you. So you can pick any one of these squares, whatever one looks good to you, and you can bring it home with you. You could even take one if you have someone else you might like to give one to. You can take more than one. There's all kinds of colors. It's just a little reminder that you are loved. Okay, you can go back to the prayer ground or to your folks. And so we continue on with the woman reaching out to Jesus in faith. She's reaching out in a place of physical desperation. In other Gospels, there are more details included. But she had spent all her money already on doctors and cures, and nothing else worked. And she was desperate. And she was exercising great faith, believing if I just touched the hem of his cloak, those fringes, those healing on the wings that they had believed the Messiah would bring, she would be healed, and she was. And at the Healing Center, we do have a frame painting smaller than a wall mural, but it is in our prayer room. And I have brought many people to go and pray and sit right before that picture. And I invite them just to reach right out. I say, go ahead and just touch it. You can just touch and reach out whatever you need to reach out to Jesus for today, knowing his love and power is already sparking and ready to meet you wherever that place of need is. So today, where are you reaching out to Jesus? Where do you want to reach out to Jesus? Maybe you've reached out many places. Why not turn to Jesus and see what his power and love can do? This woman not only reached out in places of physical desperation, she reached out from a place of social marginalization. For a woman who was having an issue of blood would have been deemed unclean based on the Hebrew laws. That meant that if she ever had a husband, he would have nothing to do with her. Her parents, if they were still alive, could have nothing to do with her. If she had any friends, they couldn't spend any time with her. Anyone who was with her would be also deemed unclean, including herself. And that meant that she was stigmatized in society. She was left in isolation and shame and fear, and she was not allowed in her religious community. She literally had no connection. She was on her own. And when she reached out to Jesus, Jesus' healing goes beyond just the physical. He restored her sense of belonging in community, because when she reached out and the healing occurred, he declared her well. You are well. And when a rabbi declares someone well, that was like the arbitration in the community. They were the adjudication. They would say, you are well, and that restored her back to her community. So he gave her that gift of reconnection. Where have you been feeling isolated, silenced, marginalized? Where would you love Jesus just to pick you up and bring you back to the family of God, back into connection, back out of hiding, into a place of openness and love? And finally, this woman was reaching out to Jesus in a place of personal desolation. Even now, all we do is refer to this woman as the woman with the issue of blood, no name. She had lost her identity and her dignity. She was nameless. But what does Jesus do? He not only heals her physically, he not only restores her sense of belonging and into community, but he confers identity. He restores her identity. He says, daughter. He stands her up and says, daughter, you are well. Your faith has made you well. She has a name. This story could be very well called the daughter who was healed, or the one Jesus called daughter, instead of the woman with a label because of her condition. And Jesus was on a very important mission to raise a synagogue leader's daughter from the dead, Jairus' precious daughter. But Jesus stops and takes time to save his precious daughter for all the community and crowds to see. I have time for you. You matter. And she does matter. And this restored her worth. She wasn't just an invisible nobody in the crowd anymore. She was daughter, his daughter. And so I'm wondering, in a time of quiet, what would it feel like for you to let Jesus take you by the hand, gaze with his look of love, and whisper and restore your identity as beloved daughter and son, to restore that sense of identity and worth that was there from the very beginning? Jesus reveals the heart of the Father in all that he does. And I'm reminded what he said to his critics at the very beginning of this passage, when he says, the well have no need of a physician, only the sick. Go and learn what God's mercy is all about. And we know that God's presence is available to all people at all times and all places. But it seems to me that when we are at our lowest, God's mercy shines the brightest. Where are you longing for an encounter with God in your life today? Amen.